Hi, I'm Brenda Yoho, and welcome to Solution Saturday. So, I want to let you know that today is daylight savings time. So, before you go to bed tonight, make sure you turn your clocks back by 1 hour if that applies to you. When I think about falling back, I think about our season. Fall is a great time of the year. It's, in fact, my favorite time. I love the season of fall with the bright colors of the leaves changing and it's just a perfect temperature for me. I just love it. But it reminds me that in our lives, we often fall back on what we've done in the past. And we often just keep going back and returning to the practices that we've done in the past to solve the issues that we face. And we keep in that cycle of going back and repeating and repeating and repeating. And as Christians, we often say, let go and let God. And that's so true. It's so hard for us to let go of the things of our past because it's what we're comfortable with, it's what we know. And I did that. And I know I did that. I made a decision because I didn't let go of my past. And I question that today, but I think I made the right decision. So let me tell you what I did. So in my past, as a third grader, a little girl, I missed school for about a week. And I missed school because my mother's mother was diagnosed with cancer. I had never experienced anything like that before as a little girl. It was my first time experiencing death, and it was horrific. Anytime I had been to Kentucky to visit my family in Kentucky, it was a happy, joyous time. It 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 was so much fun. I was so excited about going, but this time was so different. When I walked into the hospital to see my grandmother, it was not my grandmother. She looked nothing like my grandmother. It was it was so tragic for me. This woman who was so big of life and full of life, and she was a heavy set woman, and she just was shriveled up, and she reached out to hold my hand, and it was so cold and bony, and um, I stood there and just said nothing. My dad took me out of the room very quickly because there was rules at the hospital. They just let us go in for just a few minutes, and of course my mom stayed. My grandmother ended up passing away, and I went through that whole process, and my dad was trying to comfort my mother, and I was just silent, I think, through the whole thing, not just absorbing everything and just feeling horrific. It was just so much trauma for me. And cancer is just horrible. If you've experienced cancer, or if you've had a loved one go through cancer and has passed, my thoughts and prayers are with you. I was diagnosed with breast cancer right before Christmas, and I'm coming up on an anniversary. I'm cancer free, but when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, I made the decision based on my knowledge of how I felt as a small child, knowing my grandmother had cancer and what she went through. I had no idea when I was diagnosed with cancer what my future was going to look like, what I was going to go through. But I knew as a grandmother, I did not want my grandchildren to go through what I did as a child. So I said to my daughter when I told her, we're not going to tell the grandchildren. We're just not. We're going to just not tell them. We're going to hide it from them. Was that a good decision? I don't know. I think it is, because it was right before Christmas, And I was not going to steal their joy because Christmas is my favorite holiday. And I have made it theirs, I think. It's a great holiday with so many celebrations, with understanding our Christian background, and with making it all about family. And I have a little piece of history with them that I share, and we make it a game, and it's just a wonderful time. And plus, my granddaughter has her birthday on Christmas Eve, just like my grandmother on my dad's side. So it's a fun time. So I think I made the right decision. We'll find out later in life when they're adults if we share that story with them. But I wasn't going to do that with them. So I fell back on what I knew as a child. So when we face a problem, what do you fall back on? Do you fall back on the things you've done in the past to solve your issues? Do you repeat some of the things that haven't worked in the past, but you think they're going to work now? I think sometimes we do as leaders. We just keep doing the same things over and over again. So I think I want to challenge you with looking at trying something different. Education needs to have something different. We have tried over and over the same things, it seems like, in my opinion. As parents, you are the final say in everything that goes on with your child. It's my belief. And I think that we're getting away from that. And I don't want that to happen. I think that parents need to be involved and engaged with the school system. In the past, I think that we've not seen that. And it needs to happen. I know it's so hard because parents are working. The schedules don't match. Trust me, I listen to my daughter and my son-in-law. They are on the go all the time trying to keep their kids active and involved in sports and other activities. They are doing everything they can to make sure their kids are engaged in activities and social events and academics, and trying to find that balance. So I understand because they both work too. That's where we come as grandparents, trying to help alleviate some of those issues for them with transportation and support. I'm going to challenge all of you as a community, as a teacher, principal, as a parent. We've got to work together. Home, school, and community is what we need as a framework, working together to lift up our children. So let's fall back on that. Let's fall back on that kind of system where we can work together in doing all we can to support our children. Look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You can Google it and look at that chart. My two rules are feeling good and feeling safe. If you look at that chart, every level from the foundation is our needs, just basic needs of home, clothing, food, the basic needs. Well, that's helping us feel good. That's helping us feel safe. We have shelter, something to eat, our clothing to help us feel warm. And he has safety right there, listed. All the way up, you will find feeling good and feeling safe. If we can focus on that and help build those skills early with our children, they'll find the resilience they need to face any challenge that comes to them and to overcome the traumas that they'll have in life. We all had trauma in life as we face COVID-19. We'll continue to have issues with trauma. I'm sorry to say, but we will. I talked with a gentleman, and I'm not going to say his name because he didn't give me permission to do so. And he was faced with some issues and made the decision, him and his wife, to homeschool. I should be angry as a public educator, thinking that no, you should not take your kids out of school. Try it, try it, try it. I didn't take that stance with him. Instead, I said, you absolutely need to take that issue and do that if that's what's best for your kids. Then I read shortly after that a message from one of my former students making the same decision with one of her children. Not all of her children, just one, because she's facing a lot of issues. As a middle school student, she's being bullied. And her mother went to the school and tried everything. She's went multiple times, and it just wasn't working. She's listening to her child and doing what she knows is best for her. We have to do that because the statistics tell us that children aged 10 to 24 are hurting themselves. And they're not just hurting themselves, they're killing themselves. We can't have this as a society. Society is a reflection of what we've allowed to happen, not just one entity. It's not just education. It's not just the homes. I've heard all the statistics: single parent homes, low income homes. I've heard, lots of different things. I've heard that, we don't have enough things for kids that are low economically. We don't have this, gender. There's all kinds of things. There's all kinds of data. But bottom line is this: we're not helping as a home, as a school, and a community together and helping our children feel good and feel safe. And we're not helping them to build the skills they need to be resilient. And it needs to start today, not tomorrow. It's too late for some. So I challenge you to help me in making sure all kids feel good and feel safe. So that's my solution for today. I'll see you next week to help those kids feel good and feel safe. Thank you.